Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here, and today we're going to be doing a how to install a backplate on shoulder pads installation. I wanted to redo my video that I have on my channel for this. I'm still going to leave that old video up, but to me it's not really outdated, but there were some complaints that people couldn't see exactly what I was doing. So we're going to redo that today, and we're going to introduce, kind of some different scenarios that you could see when you install your backplate. So if you've just bought a new backplate and you're installing it for the 2020 season, this is going to be probably the most updated that you can get as far as the information that's out there. So we're going to need just some very simple tools. We have just a screwdriver, a Phillips head attached to it. You can also use a flathead screwdriver, because what we'll notice on our hardware is that it can take both, so that makes it easy for installation purposes. Make sure that you have your installation hardware. That will become very important to installing your backplate properly. Sometimes that stuff may be hidden up in the packaging of your backplate. I have a Shock Doctor Showtime backplate, which is brand new, we're going to install. And then we also have just a kind of a side-by-side comparison of different styles of backplates. We have a Riddell carbon fiber chrome, and it's a little older one, but we're going to go ahead and put, we're going to show, two different examples. Could you have different sets of shoulder pads? We have two different brands. There are way more brands out there, but we're just going to kind of show you some of the basic examples you can get just with your standard overall backplates. You can get most backplates, unless they are specific for a certain set of shoulder pads or a certain style. Most backplates that you get on the market are compatible with most shoulder pads, and that is a key, most. All right, so today's installation, we're going to be using a pair of Riddell SPX shoulder pads. This is a running back cut, so we're going to be using this set here today to install this backplate. Now, this backplate can be used on a variety of other sets of shoulder pads, but today we're just going to install it on here. And then one key point that we need to make is just based on the configuration of where this backplate's going to go. So if you notice, there are two holes here and here that are going to be basically where you would install a backplate. Well, if you look at our backplate, it's got 4 sets of holes on either side of the strap. Does that mean that the backplate is not going to work? No, because what's great about some backplates, and some can do this and some can't, so it really depends on what you have, but these straps, if you will kind of adjust them, you can essentially configure any of these where they need to go. And so if they need to go wider, they go wider. So that's a great thing just built in to this Shock Doctor Showtime backplate. And it's a great backplate all in itself. So let's install it. The first thing that we have to do is we make sure we have our hardware. So there are 3 main components of our hardware, okay? First off, we have what's called a T-nut, okay? The T-nut is what the screw will sit down inside of, okay, when we put the screw on. The screw also has one other piece with it here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right here, okay? This is kind of like a little washer. And some backplates will have washers, some won't. So it really just depends on what you have. Is this washer required? I would say no, but it probably helps to where this doesn't loosen up, because what will end up happening over the course of the season is if you don't check your backplate very often, you may lose some of your hardware. And it's not hard to replace this stuff. Like, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere where you can get hardware stuff, screws and stuff like this. You can get this stuff, and your coaches may have that as well, okay, to help you out if you do lose it. But we're going to put that on. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with our T-nut. Our T-nut is going to kind of get us started on this, because up here, we could put a backplate through that, but it really doesn't help us in any way. I find that on the SPX, this strap doesn't really help us that much as far as installing anything. So our backplate spots are going here and here, and that's what we're going to go ahead and predetermine. Now, you might want to go ahead and kind of figure out where you want your backplate to sit. Personally, I think it's best if the backplate is riding up higher, so it's not dangling off too much. because you can't have your back plate showing in a game. Like, it has to be tucked under your jersey. They've made rules about that now, so make sure that you follow all of those guidelines. And depending on, you know, kind of where I find that this is all going to kind of line up, and it really just kind of depends. Is it going to be better if I put it like this, so I have a spot there, and I can go there? That's probably about as best as I can do. Okay, so we're going to use this hole on the left-hand bottom side first. You'll find there's the T-nut again. We're going to go ahead and put the T-nut in the spot where we want it, and we're just going to go ahead and just, you know, we're not going to worry about the other spot. We're just going to go ahead and get that in. Now the T-nut will kind of make its way through and kind of be, I'm going to come closer here and show you, like, it's going to kind of be protruding through, and we want to have that happen just like that. We want that to happen. Okay, so we've got that there. I mean, really what comes next, so now we take the screw and the washer. We'll make sure the washer's on there, and we're going to go ahead and just start threading it, and then we'll just finish off with our screwdriver. We'll make sure everybody at home can see exactly what I'm doing, because all I'm doing is simply just screwing this piece in. It's better if I have a table, a bench of some kind to work on. But there it is, okay? And I've got a ratchet screwdriver that allows me to kind of tighten this about as good as I can get it. And you want to keep that, you want to keep something like this on hand just to make sure that you don't lose it. You don't want to lose that. Let's go ahead and install the other side. Okay, same kind of setup here. I'm taking my hardware kit that I was given with the back plate in this small little bag, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble everything right now, and go ahead and once again find the washer, excuse me, not the washer, find the T-nut. Okay, we'll find the T-nut, and we're going to go ahead and put it in about that same spot. It's gonna leave this to be exposed. That's not really that big of a concern. Be sure that you're in an area that you can, if you were able to lose your some of your hardware, you'll make sure to be able to find it. Once again, I'm just gonna get it started and finish up here. What I'm doing at the back, and I think this is something to kind of point on, I'm holding the T-nut in place back here. Like, I'm holding my middle finger on that so I can secure this. And eventually you'll feel the screw start to come through. And there we go. Now, one good test is if I can pull on this and see if that loosens up, becomes a problem, I've installed a good back plate, okay? And just because I did that, I'm gonna go ahead and retighten these real quick. But this was a good installation, okay? Like I said, it might not look perfect, okay? But I mean, it's on there, okay? And Shock Doctor doesn't make, they just make the back plate. So I mean, they don't have a set of shoulder pads like this, but they're gonna fit on a variety of different sets. Okay, there are some exceptions with shoulder pads where they will fit differently on different sets of shoulder pads, and some sets of shoulder pads will look drastically different. Just as a quick point of reference, Douglas pads. Okay, if you have Douglas pads, their setup is different. Okay, they have two different holes. They have two holes on each side of the set of shoulder pads. So, and if you notice, could we probably get this to fit the exactly how the Shock Doctor did to the Riddell one? Probably not. Like, it's probably going to fit just a little bit different. Let's show you some more examples. Some back plates will have a different design as far as where their back plate is meant to go. Now, you can see on this set of shoulder pads, it's got spots here for if we didn't want this exact back plate and we wanted something else, we could probably put that other Riddell one that we have onto it. But if you notice that this exact back plate has a very different configuration and only has, you know, one strap here, that's going to fit very different rather than any other set of shoulder pads that we have. And we could probably only just use this back plate on this exact set of shoulder pads. Now that's a very unique situation. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to install this Riddell back plate, which looks very much different than the Shock Doctor one because of the straps that are on here. We're going to install it on the Douglas snapper pads, and we're going to talk through that exact example of how we would set up kind of a different configuration just to see if you guys have that example that you're setting up. Quick interjection before we start on the next backplate to install. If we have rusted hardware, we don't need to use any rusted hardware. So this backplate that I bought off Sideline Swap. And I was just wanting to get another version of a different backplate. And I noticed that when I got it, well, it's kind of rusted out. Well, rust can occur, you know, over time with moisture and just in general use of a lot of metal materials that we use in this. So we're gonna keep a few things, like I think we can like even the screw there is rusted out. So I'm not gonna even use this stuff. I am gonna save the washers because that did come with the back plate. So we are gonna, those washers will kind of help us bridge the gap, but we're not gonna use any of this stuff. Luckily, I've got some extra stuff that, we've got some extra T-nuts here that we're gonna make work with this. The only concern that I have is that we're gonna make sure that we've got enough room there to take the screw, drive it through the washer and the T-nut. That's gonna be very much something we wanna do. And get the differences here, I think, yep, so there's a small difference there. This one's just a little bit longer. So that's actually gonna work out perfect for us. We'll use that one. And it just kind of helps. I've had a lot of this stuff around for years, and so these are, you know, brand new screws, and we're going to throw those in to our back plate and you know, set it up again. All right, round two of our installation. One key thing that was different with the Douglas pads, and this just is most of the time something that just happens to be pretty much in general with a lot of different shoulder pads, that they just have different, like each brand is going to have their own kind of configuration. So these aren't in a linear path where they're straight across the shoulder pads, they're angled differently. Well, Douglas has a lot of different backplate styles. They've got at least 3 or 4 different styles that you can choose from, but we're not going to use a Douglas backplate today. We're gonna say that Douglas backplates are expensive. So we're gonna use a little cheaper option. We're gonna use one of the Riddell carbon fiber ones, which are about $50. That's, you know, not the cheapest that you can go, a little bit higher end, but I like that style of the backplate. But we're gonna see that there is, you know, there's a hole up here where you can install a very specific backplate just to fit Douglas pads, okay? So we're gonna start with that here. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and take our back plate, try to line it up the best we can. I think this one will probably be the way that it's gonna probably set up. You know, I can see through on that one. I can see that we could possibly do something like this, and that's probably what we're gonna have to do. So we're gonna end up using the first notch on our back plate. Now this was a used back plate. And I think just something really cool, well, it did chip here a little bit on this carbon fiber. It's not real carbon fiber, it's just the look. Very cool backplate from Riddell. But when I bought this, okay, when someone had this, their little rivets that are on the backplate are kind of worn down. Now, if I have that problem, and I bought this one secondhand, you know, you can take a pair of pliers and you can kind of smooth that back down, okay? That's just obviously showing wear on this backplate. But no big deal. On the back side, okay, you'll notice that there is, you know, no really any damage to that. Something that you may have to concern yourself with is on back plates and stuff, they can tear into the lining of your shoulder pads. That does happen from time to time, and that's completely normal. Okay, and it's not like something that has to be fixed all the time. Personally, I don't think it's worth it to get all of this redone. It's almost just better just to get another set of shoulder pads. Anyway, I digress, and we're going to go ahead and set up this configuration. I've already dropped one of the T-nuts. I think this is going to work out really well. We've got a smaller T-nut here. All of these come in different sizes and shapes, and we're going to put this on the top row because I felt like with the way that this, remember, these can turn and move, so we can adjust this to most shoulder pad styles. We're gonna go ahead and try to find it there. I'm gonna go ahead and take something else that might help us with this is the washer. So placement of the washer, and if you need it, could make a difference. We could place, I have seen some configurations where you can place the washer on the T-nut to kind of give you a little extra padding, but what's gonna happen is if that doesn't line up just perfectly, what'll happen is it will actually slide in there, and that will basically give us, that's not a good thing. We want something I'm going to show you real quick that'll help. You can kind of just get this, but like we want this to be flat on the back side. Okay, we want the T-nut to be flat on the back side of this that faces our back. Okay, we want that to be flat, and we want that part to be on the shoulder pads. Okay, so in this case, is the washer going to be helpful towards us? You know, we're going to kind of see if it is something that we may need. Sometimes we don't need it, but I'm going to go ahead and try it with the washer on top of the screw, or on the screw, I will say. This can kind of help bridge the gap a little bit. You don't want too much of the screw sticking out, so that's kind of a beneficial thing to have with the washer. Go ahead and tighten this guy up here. Okay, and I'm going to tighten it pretty tight there, but also, you know, I can still adjust this. That's not a big deal. Okay, so where I'm going to line it up on the next side, okay, and it all kind of depends. So it's good that this back plate can kind of move around, but the more that it moves, there's a better chance that it could, fall off there. So make sure that you're watching your back plate, making sure that everything is still aligned. So once again, I know I'm repeating myself, but we're gonna just go through this one piece at a time. We're taking the T-nut, we're placing it onto the shoulder pads. We're finding the hole that we're going to go through right up here. I'm placing the washer and the screw together. Go ahead and start just by hand turning it. The washer's worked out really well. And sometimes, even when I put these together as a coach, I feel like during the season I do more rib protector backplate install fixes than anything else. We normally don't have many problems with helmets and stuff, just with how advanced helmets have gotten. And I will say, just being kind of the guy that's always done the equipment, this is kind of one of those areas that is somewhat of a frustration. So here we go. We'll start to tighten it here, just so you guys can see how I've configured this exact back plate. So I've got the screw, the washer, okay? We'll tighten up here. Get it as tight as I can get it. And let's kind of do a little test here, see if we can tear the back plate off. That's not too bad, okay? And it's okay that you have some straps that are kind of poking out of areas. That's perfectly fine. Every back plate is going to fit differently on each set of shoulder pads. But I just showed you two examples today of two universal back plates that work on a different variety of pads. Now, obviously, there are different shoulder pad sets out there. And guys, I don't have access to every single pair. You know, I don't have access to X-Tech pads. I don't really have many adult shut pads. I have a lot of youth shut pads. You know, if there is a specific brand of backplate that we need to talk about, you know, post those down in the comments below, and let's start a discussion. Let's try to get people help on their backplate situations if you can't do it. Hopefully this video was helpful. It's been running for a while, but I feel like I needed to do an in-depth analysis as far as like installing backplates. And I'm going to do more videos on backplates. I just wanted to kind of, you know, end this part of the video here. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just wanted to end this video here and just say thank you if you've watched it all the way to the end. I know it was 20 minutes long, but I felt like it was necessary to go through the steps and show different situations on how to, you know, install your backplate properly. You know, I hope that it was helpful in that regard. So hopefully the video just turned out good for it. And I hope it helped. So that's going to kind of be my backplate install video of 2020. Just go ahead and get that out there because my other one I felt like was a little outdated. And so hopefully that helps out. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you can know when we're uploading videos. We're uploading videos every Tuesday and Thursday. And for the foreseeable future, we will be live streaming on Saturday nights. So be checking back for that stuff each day. And be sure to check me out on Instagram. Trying to get you guys involved in there on Instagram. And if you want to be a part of our private Discord, the links are down in the description below. We'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.